Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. You can find us on the radio at icradio.media, where we are brand new Fox News affiliates, and we appreciate that association. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. And also, please continue sending those emails. You know, they make my day. Thank you so much for doing that, Donna at donnasedge.com. And I'm the geek in school. So, you know, I was actually quiet as Julia in school. And I've got to send you on the who's who, my graduation year from high school. I'm going to send the picture to you. I'm holding a sign up. I'm in the library. Me and this other guy, I don't even remember his name. He was that quiet. I was holding a sign that says, "Quiet, please." I'm going to send it to you.
That's amazing.
I'm still quiet. I don't say that much at home, but when I'm around awesome folks like you, it just kind of comes out. And I love being a cheerleader. And I always tell everybody, any potential sponsor will say, "Why should I sponsor with you?" And I'll say, "Well, first of all, we have the best sponsors already. And we also have the absolute best guest. I mean, they really know their stuff." So Julia Christine is with me right now. She is from, where are you coming in from, girl?
I'm from Brooklyn, New York, my friend.
So there you go, the country mouse versus the city mouse. But it's a pleasure to be with you, and you know, all of your accolades, and you have a podcast. You do many things. So just a brief introduction. A lot of new folks listening to us right now through Fox News affiliation.
As you said, my name's Julia Christine. I am an intuitive healer, and I'm the host of the Life After Breath podcast. It's a daily podcast that is about 8 minutes every morning, designed to give you a little bit of inspiration to how to live your best life, and then spend a couple of minutes breathing to really get yourself centered and connected to your inner being so that you can follow that and listen to that guidance throughout the day.
I totally am into that. And I believe that you can talk yourself in and out of being sick.
100%.
I'm a true believer of that. We used to have a bunch of Nextel cell phone stores in Alabama, the great locations. And I remember the whole staff, everybody was sick with the flu. And I almost got it. And so everybody was asking, "How are you not getting it? You're right in the middle of and I was going, I'm talking myself out of it."
Yeah.
I was a little bit sick, of course, but I didn't get full-fledged blown into bed about it. I mean, I just, so let's talk about that. Do you really believe in mind over matter?
100%. Your thoughts are what create your day. Your thoughts are what guide you. Your thoughts create your emotions. And so when you can get ahead of your thoughts before they build momentum in a negative direction, you can make sure that you are living a day you can make sure that you build a positive momentum, essentially, and literally create your own reality and literally create your day, and then your week, and then your month, and then your life.
I'm just totally into that. I meet a lot of people all throughout the day. And so I met a lot of people who are maybe older adults.
Right.
And they seem to have the best attitudes. And they actually, to me, look younger than maybe somebody might be 20 or 30 who's just having a tough time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not to fault people who have tough times. We're human. We're going to have tough times.
Sure.
And honestly, negative emotion is important. Having tough times is important. It creates contrast so that you learn. If everything was positive and good and beautiful all the time, you wouldn't realize it was beautiful. True. You have to have the contrast. Dark actually needs light. And a lot of times in our society, etc., getting a little heavy right away here, we're so trained that something that is dark equals evil. If I'm angry, that's bad. Actually, you can learn to make anger your ally, because anger actually tells you something's going on. You're unhappy about something, and it gives you an opportunity to step back and say, what's going on? Why am I getting upset about this? Where is this coming from? Largely a question that I ask and work with clients to ask is this about me? Does this have anything to do with me? And usually the answer is no, which means you can let it go and not let it affect you. No one can make you mad, Donna. You are in control of that. You get to decide if you're going to react and be mad, or if you're going to respond and realize what's going on, that person is acting out of their own issues or something, and and that their behavior doesn't have to affect you.
Mhm.
Does that make
That is
sense?
absolutely, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So I had, and we have several emails from the last time you were on the show.
Oh, yay. I'm so glad. You were mentioning emails before, and I was like, it's not that you're a geek. It's just amazing to get feedback, like good and bad. I want to know where I can improve or what information you want, or like, yeah, I love that.
Well, you're spot on, because a lot of the emails we've received previously, and one of them you answered it last time you were on the show, and it was about, are there more narcissists now, or are we just more aware of it?
I like we talked about last week or last month, like we definitely are more aware of it. It's also that we throw that word around without realizing what it means. And so we're using the word more, even though there's probably not more narcissists. It's just that we are identifying behaviors as narcissistic when they're probably not.
Mhm.
You know, and like that's the other thing, like calling someone a narcissist is like saying somebody's a toxic person. I don't believe that there are toxic people. I believe there's toxic behavior, absolutely, but no one is inherently toxic.
Well, some people too are just not aware of it. I have a friend, a very good friend, and a lot of people call her a narcissist. I don't. If she's a narcissist, she's a good one. So what? So what happened? And she and I are just good friends.
Yeah.
So what happened is, early in life, her mom passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Dad instantly remarries someone else who has kids, and then they start having kids. And I feel her behavior is, she's always trying to get attention.
Yeah.
I feel her behavior is because she never got attention.
Yeah.
And she just goes a little bit. I don't think she's a narcissist. I just don't. She's just trying. She comes up with creative ways to get attention.
100%. And I mean, that's inherent to being human, is that you want, you desire, you need nurturing, you need that love and attention. And so to have that absence so early on, and then to not have it replaced, and constantly searching for someone to love you, to take care of you, to see you. We need to be seen. And so to take a step back and be like, what is this actually about? So I love that you've done that and realized she's not narcissistic. She has a history. And the next step when we have people like that in our lives is twofold. First of all, you can't fix her. First of all, nobody needs fixing, but there's no reason for you to try. You can guide her. You can say, hey, have you thought about looking into blah, blah, blah? Or like, I know that personally, there's so much to be learned from connecting with your inner child so that you can figure out from your past maybe where you picked up on something. I'm very confident that your friend has always been loved. However, from a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old perspective, that was missing. Mm-hmm. And so when we can go back and discover what the perspective was at that age and go, oh, that wasn't true at all. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll be honest with you, one of my things was that I was abused as a child and I couldn't tell anybody. And so I literally kept my mouth shut. And so no one took care of that. So I felt very alone. I felt like nobody saw me, nobody heard me. And I literally watched the people who loved me in my life take care of like my brother or my cousin or the other people that were my age or the other children that I was associated with. And I didn't see them taking care of me because I was being abused, but they didn't know. Do you know what I mean? And so like from that little girl's perspective, of course she felt that way. But to be able to look at it as an adult and say, they did everything they could, they had no idea. And to be able to be like, okay, I understand your perspective. I can change your perspective. Mm-hmm. I can change my perspective and tell that little girl, you were never alone. Mm-hmm. You were always loved, and really work on healing that wound. Doesn't mean you have to dig up the past or like relive any traumas. That's not necessary for healing. What's necessary for healing is a little bit of discovery of realizing there's a wound, and then going in and like recognizing it, acknowledging it, and feeling your way through it. Wounds hurt. So, okay, as a 5-year-old little girl who was wounded, I wasn't allowed to be mad or sad because that would show, and I wasn't allowed to tell. And so as an adult, getting mad for that little girl is really important. It was really important for me to be angry for her. And I went through that and I wrote the angry letters and I burned them and I wrote them again and I burned them and I processed that. And that was me recognizing and acknowledging and feeling. And now that's done. Now think about a wound. What do you physically do, Donna, when you cut yourself? What do you do to heal? And the answer is nothing. You allow it to heal. And so it's not that I needed fixing. It's not that I had to do anything to heal. It's that I had to allow it to heal. But I couldn't do that without recognizing it was there and feeling it. So
sometimes
it's a process.
people label us sometimes. And I'm going to talk about my friend again.
Yeah, for sure.
And so because she's close to me. And she's received a label, a bad label, because this is what she does to get attention. She just needs to feel loved. She needs to feel needed. And so sometimes when you're holding a conversation with her, she'll just jump in there and just, butt in on like a bunch of people talking. She'll do that at parties and stuff like that. Well, most people are taken by that. And most people just jump back at her doing that. I get why she's doing it. So how important is it for us to not misjudge and listen to people, just kind of look at their reactions before making that assumption because there are narcissists, in my opinion. There are some
I agree.
Terrible. But again, she's been mislabeled because she had a characteristic of a narcissist.
Right. I think that it's really important to realize that it's not our business to label somebody and to decide who or what someone is. It's not my business. I get to decide whether I want to keep her behavior, if that is a consistent behavior or characteristic of hers, and I don't care for it. Is that enough for me to keep her out of my life? And if so, cool. If not, then maybe you have a conversation with her, because I would bet she is absolutely unaware that that's one of her behaviors, because she's just trying to be heard, because she didn't feel like that growing up. She didn't feel heard. And so now here's her opportunity to make sure she's heard. And that's cool. And so the idea is not even about misjudging. It's about, let's not judge at all. Let's allow somebody to be who they are. And then we get to decide how we want that to interact with our lives. And because she is such a good friend, it's an opportunity to say, I noticed that when other people are speaking, sometimes it's not that you're sometimes you jump in and talk over them. Or even if it's probably better when she does it to you, to say, hang on just a second, I wasn't finished. I want to hear your opinion, but I want you to finish hearing mine first. And as humans, we are so quick to want to respond that we don't listen. And it's challenging to tell your friend, you're not listening to me, because now I'm being accusational. But if I can own my voice and say, hold on, I'm not finished. And literally say that, now she's aware, oh my God, I'm cutting her off. And then you say it again, hold on, I'm still not finished. And then again, and now it becomes a pattern. And then if you need to, you can say, have you noticed that's the third time you've cut me off? Is there something and then not to be accusational, but get curious. Why don't you listen to me all the way through? Is there a reason? And then again, that just continues to make her aware. And then you let go of it, because it's not your thing. It's her thing. And she gets to decide if she wants to change it or not, or become aware of it and heal that wound or whatever that is. But then you get to decide how much you want that behavior in your life. And that either means you step away from your friend, which is non-judgmental, or you say something to her or, but remembering that there's nothing that you can do to change her. And there's no reason to judge her behavior. It's literally just, that's her journey. She's got to deal with that. How am I going to involve that or let that affect my life? And the answer is, I'm not. I can either accept that that's who she is, and I know that when we're talking, she's not going to hear me, and that's okay, because that's our relationship. Or you can say, you know what? I need to be heard by my friends. And if you're not going to listen to me, I'm not going to talk anymore.
I think you're spot on there, because I came through a childhood that way as well. Not being heard, not being listened to. That's why I was quietest in school. I really wasn't that quiet.
Right, exactly.
So and around my peers. So one time my husband said something to me. We had just been married and I was doing that to him. I mean, I was butting in on him. I mean, just not, but I was just so excited that we had such a good relationship, I guess, that I was just like, I have an awesome relationship with my husband. And I would just like, just bubble out talking. I wasn't used to being able to bubble out talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was doing that. So he made me aware of that in a nice way.
Absolutely. I had a friend that would do that too, where again, we're so quick to respond and we're great friends. And like, he's like a brother to me, and we would be talking and I'd be like, yes. And, or no, because, because we like to get into heated arguments, not because we disagree with each other, but we like to challenge one another. And exactly. And it's fun and playful. And he was like, you haven't even heard me finish and you already have an opinion about what I've said. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and he has said it to me enough times that it's like, Julia, or he'll finish and I'll immediately respond. And he's like, whoa. Did you even process what I said? Because you already have an answer. Think about it. Don't just hear me, listen and think about what I said, and then decide if you agree or disagree, or if you have a rebuttal or something to say. And it really does hit me, because so often during the first half of a sentence, or if it's a paragraph, during the first half of that, we've decided what the rest of it's going to be. Mm-hmm. And sometimes by the time they get to the end of it, they've already come around to our point. So when we say our point, thinking it's a rebuttal, it's not. So it proves we haven't. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's really important to allow a conversation to be one person talking, processing, and then another person talking. That's a conversation where people are paying attention and listening to one another, instead of just being ready to say the next thing. As soon as she stops talking, I'm going to say something. That's not a conversation.
Well, this is something I learned in from my own self of doing this. And I still do it. I think I just butted in on you just a few minutes ago.
And I did the same thing to tell you that. It's a human thing.
So one time Phil was talking, saying something about a trip we were going to take or something. I don't remember what it was. And I said, oh, well, where do we want to such and such, whatever the question was. And he said, if you'd been listening, you would have heard what I said. I've already answered that. So from now on, I kind of listen to that. So if somebody says, and this is for all the folks out there who are like me, you may just jump into a conversation, and my friend may do that. If somebody says, well, like I said, that's a pretty good hint you weren't listening.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, it is.
So that means a lot. It means a lot. But and again, we appreciate the questions. And just in case you're thinking, I've got a question right now and I'm watching the show. Okay, send your emails. I promise I'll get to every single one of them. Donna@donnasedge.com. Donna@donnasedge.com. It's important because we're all here. We're helping each other out, right?
Yes, 100%.
We're all helping each other out.
Absolutely.
So, another question I wanted to ask you about too, and this is I said it's my question. Actually, Vicky asked this question. I guess we all have the same question. And so Vicky was talking about, it's almost along the lines of what you've been talking about, what you've been saying. And she said that sometimes she wants to jump into a conversation. What is the polite way to do that? I totally get what she's saying. I think this is what she means. I think she means that she's with a group of people. She's a little bit quiet. She would like to be conversational, but she's trying not to be rude. Mm-hmm. How can she jump in?
I think there are a number of clues that when you're with people who are like literally having a conversation, that they know you want to say something. So almost like take a deep breath and be like, and then stop yourself, because you're not going to interrupt them. But when you want to interrupt them, to do that and then wait, or just put your finger up. You know what I mean? Just like almost like we used to do in class when we would raise our hand when we had something to say. I'm not going to lie to you. I do that. I'll raise my hand in the conversation and be like, I'm next. I want to talk. You know what I mean? So like if you're with friends, that's absolutely the way to do it. If it's, if somebody is just going on and on and on and on and on, I don't think it's a problem, especially if you're more one-on-one or even just like a couple of people, to say, hold on a second. Can I respond to that before they go on to the next thing? Or if they already, how sometimes you'll be in a conversation and you want to say something, but then the conversation switches and we move away from it. So if you do say it, as it's switching, it's possible to say, can we go back to that for just a second? Because I want to go dig into this a little further, or like, I have an opinion about that is an interesting opinion, like those types of things. Or I thought about this thing. And I think that's a really good way to interject without interrupting. I think there's a difference between those two things, like you said with your friend who doesn't just interject, she like railroads the person because she was like talking on top of them. That's obviously not good conversation. Whereas if you like just make sure that you want to be, it's obvious you want to be heard, or speak up and say, I'd like to talk about that. I have something about that. And then honestly, what that also does, it lets the people that you're with realize that they haven't allowed you to speak.
I think so too.
Yeah. And that happens. And it's normal, and it's not somebody trying to be rude or exclude you. It's just part of talkers. They keep talking.
Well, I have to tell you, my first real management job, I had the best boss. I mean, she was just a great communicator. And so I learned a lot just from watching her. So if we would have to fly up to New York and have business meetings. And sometimes we were in Trump Towers. And so it was just really cool. I mean, it was just
a big building.
First trips to go to New York.
Yeah.
And the company paid for it. Wow. So when I would notice her in a business setting, there would be 12, sometimes 18 of us managers at one time. We were in this big corporate room. And so what she would do, somebody would just like linger on and on and on and on and on, like that. And you could kind of look around at other people and see them yawning and all this stuff. So like the person was just going on. So Kathy, this great communicator, would notice everybody else. So she would look around and see people yawning and looking at their paper and stuff like that, trying not to be rude,
Right.
So she would just get up out of the chair and just kind of walk around the room. And then she would stand up in the chair behind the person and she would say, great point. And then she would say, didn't you have something, you point at somebody else? Did you have something else you wanted to bring into this? And I just thought the way she handled that, she wasn't being rude at all.
Right.
She told the person they were making a great point. And then she would look at somebody else and point at them and say, no, you had something you wanted to bring in this conversation as well.
Yeah, for sure. And in a business setting, absolutely. And because sometimes you can't get up and walk around. In a business setting, I think that's where going into a meeting, it's really important for someone to kind of play the role of mediator and to say like, Carl, thank you so much, but I want to make sure everybody else has an opportunity to speak. That's a much more formal setting than like what we were talking about. But like, there are absolutely ways to do that. I don't think that that's rude either, to say, thank you so much. Let's make sure that everybody has an opportunity, and Carl's aware that he's talking a lot, and he might say, cool, I just have one other point. Or can I come back to that other point when other people have spoken? And then the mediator gets to decide that, or so does the clock. You know what I mean?
That's right. I wanted to ask you about something else.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I am a political junkie. I really am. I love watching debates.
Okay.
But what I noticed about debate, and we're not going to get political here at all. I'm just saying you can learn a lot from watching debates, whether it's the dog catcher running for office with another dog catcher, or a president of the United States, or whatever. You can learn so much about what happens. And what I like to do is I like to read people. I even like to go to, say, Walmart, one of our sponsors. I love to go to Walmart and just people watch and just watch people put things that they do. And there's so much I can learn to improve myself just by watching others. So what I'll notice is they may ask, okay, let's pretend that 2 people are running for dog catcher of the community. Okay, that's a nicer way to do it. And so, and then maybe one person says, but you don't even like animals. Who knows? You're going to be fair to animals, blah, 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 blah. But then the other person is not even really listening to the question. They're ready to ask that other person. It's like they're too.
Yes.
Most of the time they're so busy and trying to think of a question to ask each other, they're not even listening to the other person.
Right.
Kind of makes you look like a dunce when you start asking the question, somebody else has already answered it.
I think that it's hard to base social communication and how you speak to your friends, family, and the people in your life, or even strangers, on how people speak to one another in a debate. Because in a debate, the The purpose is to get your point across, to get your viewpoint across, so that the people that are listening to your side of the story understand where you're coming from and understand your side and your views. Whereas in conversation, I don't believe that's the purpose. Do you see what I mean? And you can still get a point across, but that's much more conversational. You're absolutely right. Dog catcher A is not going to listen as fully consciously to dog catcher B, because dog catcher A doesn't care about dog catcher B's point. Dog catcher A wants to make sure that his point and how he delivers it supersedes dog catcher B's point, regardless of what Dr. B said, or dog catcher B. I said doctor. And I think that that's also something to consider if and when you're talking to friends or family members or people about politics, especially if you're on opposite sides of the coin, because let's be honest, you have your beliefs and the things that you want to see happen. I have mine, and I'm not going to change your mind. So why am I going to try to? I can educate you on my point of view, and I can tell you what my point of view is if you're interested, and I can tell you why. But I'm not going to try to change your point of view, because I don't understand where you're coming from, because it's your perspective.
Right.
And I think it's really, really important to remember that we're going back to what we said earlier on, and let's take off the judgment. Because you have a different belief system doesn't make you better or worse than me. It doesn't make me better or worse than you. It means that we are coming at the same problem from different perspectives. And that's okay. There is more, that saying better than I do. There's more than one way to skin a cat. You know what I mean? And so it doesn't mean that.
I thought that was just a Southern thing.
Well, I've heard it. Let's say that. It's not something I say all the time. But let's think about it for just a second. Oh, I'm losing my train of thought. That your perspective is not right or wrong. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Here's a challenging thing, and something that I've come into really a lot recently. What if is a great game to play, by the way. What if there was no wrong? What if my perspective isn't wrong? My perspective is right for me. What's right for me is not right for you. I can pretty much guarantee it. I live in the city, you live in the country. How I spend my day is not the right way you should be spending your day owning a farm. You know what I mean? And so, but does that make my perspective and how I use my time during the day wrong? No, it makes it right for me. So what if wrong didn't exist? We're so quick to blame. And I think it's really important, especially when you're dealing with people who you don't understand or whose perspectives you don't understand, is to stay curious. And by staying curious, we stay away from judgment, because we go, I've never thought about something that way. What about this? And you don't have to agree, but now you have a little bit of a different perspective. I've never heard anybody talk about it that way. I don't agree with you and I don't understand it. And that's okay. But I've never heard it said like that before. Case in point, like just as an example, I absolutely loathe the book. This might get some responses, I'm going to tell you. I loathe the book Wuthering Heights. I do not understand how anyone can read that book and say it's a romance and that it's the best romantic book that's ever been written. I do not understand that, because in my mind, reading that book, that relationship is toxic AF.
It's
and
doomed
but you know what, Donna? I love talking about it with people. I love talking to people who love it, because I don't get it. And I'm not judging them. I don't think you don't know anything about literature because you like this book. I'm just fascinated at how you can think that's romance, how you think that's a great book. How is that possible? Because I do not see it. And I love getting curious about that. What if we approached opposite sides of the coin or the aisle that way? Like, I do not, and probably never will, see it that way. And I do not understand how you can, but talk to me about that. Where did that come from for you? And then I can go, okay. And I see where my point of view came from me. Interesting. Isn't that fascinating? And now we're curious and we're not judgmental. Works for you, doesn't work for me. Cool. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay. Okay, let's give everybody an example because I see it. I actually see why it's a good romantic thing. I really do. So let me
Do
tell
you
you my
Oh my
perspective.
gosh.
Okay, so I got to tell you. So here it goes. Okay, so I mean, I love the book. I mean, I could read it
Do you
50,000
really?
times. The movie, the whole works,
Oh,
because here's the way my perspective of it. Okay, so they both die. They walk off holding hands in the great beyond. Okay, because there's another life. There's an afterlife. Prior to that afterlife, they had one struggle after the other. I mean, it was just so doomed in the life that we're in right now. So the whole thing is they got to finally be with each other at the end, getting rid of all of the bad things, the brother, the whole works, everything who was holding them back. They finally got to leave all of that, and they're holding hands walking into the hereafter, which is actually an eternity anyway.
okay.
I don't think I won you over, but anyway.
No, but it's a good point of view. The thing is that there's a lot that I could get into, especially with where my beliefs are now, as far as like we were talking about before, about like we can create our days, and one bad thing happens after another. That doesn't mean you have to be a hateful person. And they were both such hateful people that it's like, why do I want to read about this person? Why do I care about this person? I don't care whether that, like, because I don't like you as, not you, but this character, Kathy, as a person. I don't like Heathcliff as a person. Why do we care about these people? where is this
Even
going?
miserable people can be happy in the end if they choose.
Well, but why be miserable today? I think that's probably the
that.
basis of my let's say anger about this book, is that there's nothing romantic about the people in it, the characters in it. And so like that doesn't make me want to have a romantic story. And yeah, and I just feel like, because I am and always have been the person who's looking for the silver lining, and I believe that there's always one there, and always trying to figure out how to find that next best feeling when we're in the dumps of despair. You're not going to be able to be ecstatic with joy like that just because you think a positive thought. That's where toxic positivity comes in, and those plastic smiles and pretending everything's okay. No. But if you're feeling desperate and out of control, get mad about it, because that anger feels better, because now you're in control of your anger and you don't feel as out of control. Mm-hmm. And that feels better. Now don't stay in anger. What's the next best feeling from there? And you work your way up. And I know I've totally derailed talking about the book, but like literally that's how I approach my life, is like, woof, I'm not feeling great today. I wonder why. Mm-hmm. I believe so strongly that my inner being, which is who we truly are, which is our connection to what I call source energy, the universe, God, what you fill in the blank for what works for you there. Mm-hmm. That is our connection, is this inner being. Our inner being is our connection to God. Mm-hmm. And so when I can connect to that part of me, that's when everything feels incredible. Mm-hmm. And I know, based on how remember I said, like, your thoughts create your emotions, and your emotions are literally your compass to how to live your best day. Because when you start feeling gross, when you start feeling angry or mad, you're pinching off your connection to who you truly are, because your inner being doesn't know frustration. Mm-hmm. All your inner being knows is peace and love. When you look in the mirror and you find fault, that is not your inner being talking. That is you talking. And so true. Like, you get to figure out by how you feel, mm-hmm. where to go, how to live, what's next. So find the next best feeling. And what that's doing is it's opening that connection just a little bit more and just a little bit more, and allow those good feelings to guide you through your day.
Oh, and it's total freedom. We're going to have to go into a commercial break. We're a little bit behind. That's cool. We're great. But I wanted to mention this one other thing.
Yeah.
I have a friend, and he's always in it for a fight. I don't care what I put on Facebook. I can put anything political. I shared, one of my sponsors was actually having a special deal going on in their business, and they called it Donut Day. And but they didn't literally mean eating donuts. They meant, do not forget this great deal we're having today.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Well, he was looking for a fight, so he posted on Facebook. So he's an herbalist like I am. So he posted on Facebook all that sugar, all that stuff. So here's how I responded to him. So let me know what you think.
Okay.
So I put on there, you gave me some seeds back in 2014, and those were the purple tomato seeds. I mean, they're fabulous. I still have those seeds, and I save seeds every year from a tomato, and I keep them, and I continue having these seeds you gave me. I think you're a fantastic herbalist. And I just let it go. He didn't retaliate. Normally he would. I mean, I could say the flu today, and he would think of a way to retaliate. I mean, he's just that kind of a guy. But anyway, sometimes the way we just handle, I think you got the point. But now next week, or for this week sometime, I promise you, I'm going to put the sky is blue, and he's going to find a way to retaliate for that too.
Yeah, and that's, again, just like...
I think that means he likes me. I really do.
Maybe he thinks you're a good debater, and that's why.
He's kind of a hard fella to get along with. But anyway, let's go into a commercial break. We'll be right back. Queen City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdy.lawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Absolutely, it does. I want to thank all of our wonderful sponsors for being with us. And we got another new one, and this is Books A Million. And boy, is that the geek I am. I'm going to tell you, that was a good one right there, too.
Sounds good to me.
Anyway, we're there recording. At least once a week. So we're there inside drinking their awesome, wonderful, wonderful coffee and all that great things. So come and read a book, world of knowledge out there. Just read it. You know something, Julia, something my grandmother said a long, long time ago, which kind of was fitting for me. Before my son was born, you didn't know if it was going to be a girl or a boy, whatever.
Right.
In those days, this is, I mean, you went to the doctor, you found out whether you killed the rabbit or not. I don't know if you've heard that one before.
I have not, no.
There's some research on that one. It's a Southern thing.
Okay.
It doesn't literally mean you're killing a rabbit, but it's just a sense of what we say.
Okay.
And so I had to call the doctor and to find out if I was even pregnant or not. You couldn't do the test, none of that stuff.
Right,
So the moment we found out I was pregnant, my grandmother, who was an avid reader, said, "You need to read to the baby." And I said, "We don't even know if it's a girl or a boy. We don't even, I mean, you know, it's 9 months from now." And she said, "That baby can hear you." Mm-hmm. And so she said, "If you'll read to the baby, then your baby's going to be smart. And your baby will want to read when your baby grows up." Sure enough, I read to him. Mm-hmm. And my son, everywhere he has his own library like I do. And he loves to read. I mean, he's like 45 years old now. And so he's just, you know, it's just a library of books. So what we do in our own little world, we were on a commercial break and I told you a phrase that it's always stuck with me. It's a worldwide phrase where the hand that rocks the cradle. Mm-hmm. I really do believe our center, we have a center of influence with people around us. People that could be friends, could be enemies. We still have a sense of influence with people in our own world. So why am I out there trying to save the world when I can't even save my own little center of influence?
Right. Well, and like I said, you're actually not, even though that you can have a profound effect on your center of influence, really the only thing that is within your control is you, is as how you live your life. And if you can live, like, for example, I've done a lot of healing, like we talked about a little bit. And I have, in my healing, provided an example, let's say, to my own mother, and who has now initiated her own healing. I can't heal my mom. I can't help her feel her feelings and go through those things. But what I can do is continue to do that for myself, mm-hmm. and show somebody else that it's possible. And that's all it takes. And so when we remember that even within our sphere of influence, like you're talking about, it's not in my control. I can wish the best for these people, but I have to realize that's their journey. Mm-hmm. I was talking to a good friend of mine last night who's in this interesting relationship, and he was talking about like, I just don't know what to do next. And I'm like, what do you mean? And well, she's this and she's this and she's this. And I was like, what does any of that have to do with you? Well, I love her. Cool. But you can't live that life for her. You can't fix the issues she's having. You can't do XYZ. She's got to get there on her own. So what do you mean, what's your next move? I just don't know where, like, what the next play is. And I was like, what do you want to do? How do you feel? What do you want to do for you? Mm-hmm. Well, I want to be there for her. Okay. Do you know why? Do you, like, you know what I mean? And like, what is this doing for you? You've been really focused on what's going on with this other person and what's going on with their lives. As enmeshed as we are in the lives of others, we have to remember, not my circus. This is all I can control. And so then I get to ask myself, why am I so involved in somebody else's story? I love them, which is why I'm going to let them figure out their story. And then I can ask myself, do I love that person, or am I just in the habit of saying that I love that person? Mm-hmm. Do I love my neighbors, or is that just something I say? How do I actually feel? And I think it's really important. So much of what we believe is not really our belief. It's belief that's been passed down to us generationally within the church, within the government, within society, from movies, from commercials, from all of the things. I think we talked about this ages ago, but like, think about it for just a second. Name a rom-com where a woman gets broken up with that she doesn't go eat a pint of ice cream, at least. And so what does everybody do when they're depressed? Every woman feels the need to go get an ice cream when they're depressed. It's in the movie. It's in the TV show Friends. They're literally training Chandler how to eat ice cream and what kind to eat, which kind of problem. We are trained to do that. I need chocolate. No, you don't. Well, I'm depressed. Why is chocolate going to help you? You know what I mean? Like, that's taking a different place. But like, literally, when you feel the need to do something, when you feel like I have to love this person, or I have to do, cool, no judgment, but take a step back and say, is that true for me? Do I really believe that? Mm-hmm. And you're going to find much more clarity about your life, and frankly, so much more happiness when you start making decisions based on what you really believe. Because guess what? It's cool that your mom and your grandmother and her mom believed that. Not only have times changed, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's true for you. Doesn't mean they were wrong. It just means it's not my truth. Mm-hmm. And that's cool. And once you understand that, oh, what a relief. I actually don't believe that. I'll never forget. I actually was standing in front of this bookcase working from home during COVID. When I realized, I said, okay, I know I have to work an extra 10 hours this week, but I love my job. And it hit me. And I don't know why, but it hit me. Julia, do you love your job, or are you just so used to saying that? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I would be at work and be like, I hate this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here's a big part of my job I don't like. Here's another big part of my job I don't like. Okay, I do like this part. I love this part. Mm-hmm. But this is 1/10 of my entire job. And it's the only thing I love. Mm-hmm. Maybe I don't love my job. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. But it allowed me freedom to be able to pivot and live my best life.
I love that word, freedom. I mean, it's just a wonderful word. I mean, it's just so uplifting, freedom.
Yeah.
Where you're free from what other people. Oh, there was a time in my life until like very recently, maybe last week, no, a little bit longer, where I would live my life around what people thought. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you what, that is a living hell. To be living that kind of a life where you think you've got to be everything to everybody, right. And there is no way you will just you'll have overload. I mean, it will overload your brain, it'll overload
Right.
every part of your body. I think it's bad for your health too.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing about living by what, so first of all, that is an inherent trait in every single human, because back in the caveman days, we had to live together. We had to live as a community in order to survive. That is not the world we live in today. But because of how DNA works, it is in us. It is almost like a chemical. It is part of who we are as the human race, is that we want to make sure we belong. We have to, because it used to be life or death. If I was so different from my tribe, let's say, that I got ostracized, I'm dead, literally. And so give yourself a massive dollop of grace when you find yourself trying to fit in, sacrificing who you are in order to fit in, and then start asking questions. Is this true for me? Does this work for me? Do I really believe that? The other thing to remember is that we get so obsessed with thinking about what other people are thinking that we forget that just like I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's Donna thinking about what I'm saying right now? Probably there are times when you're thinking, oh my gosh, what is Julia thinking about what I'm saying right now? And in that moment, I'm not thinking about what you're thinking about. I'm thinking about you thinking about me. You know what I mean? So like if
Hey, total freedom. I love it.
If this is inherent for everyone, then that means that everyone's doing it, which means they're not thinking about you. They're thinking they don't want you to do something for them.
That is so
They're
huge.
worried about what you think and are expecting of them.
We need a show just on that.
Oh my God.
I mean, don't we though?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
We
Let me
could.
ask another quick question. We have about 4 minutes left in this segment.
Yeah.
And this is about the way we were raised, and I want to give you an example. Okay. So I am a Christian,
Mhm.
and I'm not really any affiliation.
Okay.
I'm just a Jesus lover. That's
Mhm.
all I am. And so someone told me that they were Baptist, and I
Mhm.
said, "Why are you a Baptist?" And they said, "Because John was a Baptist." And I was like, "No, that's not what that means. That doesn't mean he was a denomination Baptist. He was not that. That meant that he baptized people. That did not mean that I go to the First Baptist Church of whatever town.
You're right.
That's not what that meant." But how important is it for us to do our own research about the way we were raised, and the reason we're in a particular church, the reason we are out of a particular church, the reason we don't go, period. Don't we need to do our own research?
100%. And I think that it, like, again, we have 4 minutes to go into this, Donna. Like, this is a big thing.
We'll continue on next time. How about that?
I think that's great. I think it is very important to always question, why is this true for me? If something comes up, the first question to ask, if somebody's coming at you about something, the first question to ask is that true? They're yelling at me about something. Is what they're saying true? If it's not about you, and you can let it go. The same thing is true about your beliefs. Is that still true for me? I'm 30 now. I'm older than 30, but just hypothetically, I'm 30 now. That applied to me when I was 10 because my mom told me, but I'm an adult now. Do I still believe that? And why? Okay. But I'm not going to lie. In a lot of traditional organized religions, questioning is evil.
Oh, yeah.
If you are asking a question, there's a darkness over you. We talk about that on the podcast, on this past lab podcast on Saturday. If by asking questions of some religious leaders, you are there's a darkness over you, we need to pray for you. And I know when I started asking questions about my traditional religion, my main question was, but why? And then I'd get an answer, and why? And the further we dug into why this was the thing, the answer at the end was always because faith. Well, for me at the time, that wasn't an answer. That's a belief. You believe because you believe, not because there's an answer. And for me, that became not good enough. And that's when I started doing my own research into what built this church and where did the documents come from? Where did the books come from? Where did, and what affected those things and what went into that and what was taken out of that? And how did I feel about that? Mm-hmm. I've come to a place within organized religions in general of two things. The first thing is, I believe everything happens in this world, in this universe, exactly as it should, which means that it's not good and it's not bad. It's exactly as it should. I don't have to like it. I don't like that they tore apart Holy Scriptures in order to manipulate the masses. I do not like that. I do not like to be manipulated. Mm-hmm. Yet, I know it happened as it should. I don't understand why, but I know that there's a reason for it, like we talked about before. Mm-hmm. Again, I don't like to say reason, but I did. The other thing that I think is so, so, so important to remember is that regardless of whether you find yourself in a religion, a religious person, not in a religion, we are all on the same journey. We're just in different boats. Mm-hmm. I'll see you there. We're all going the same place. We're all having the same end, quote unquote. But we're just in a different boat. You don't have to get in my boat. I don't have to get in yours. Have a great trip.
And Wuthering Heights is the perfect example. They both wound up walking hand in hand. Who cares what else happened? So,
well, let me just say they deserved each other.
They deserved each other. That's right. Yeah, didn't they make life miserable for other people? We got to go, Chris. Thank you so much for being on the show with us.
Absolutely.
Pleasure. Can't wait for the next time. So you hang around, okay? We'll go ahead and get a date set.
For sure.
Okay. And thank you guys so much for watching. You're the reason we do what we do. Thank you so much. And keep sending those emails. We love it. Donna@donnasedge.com. Have a fantastic rest of the day.
My Towels solved a problem that we've all had with towels. You go into the stores and they feel lotiony and soft, but then you get them home and they wind dry you. That's why I made My Towels. They actually work, they're soft, and they absorb. And now I'm excited to announce 2 brand new lines of My Towels. What makes them the best towels ever is they're now made with 100% long staple Shapir cotton. This is a combed ring spun cotton that makes My Towels even softer and more absorbent than ever. And now you get a 6-piece set for an amazing introductory sale price as low as $29.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get My Towels for only $29.98. Or you can get my designer premium line for just $20 more. Either way, you save 50% now on all My Towels. They actually work. What a concept. This offer won't last long, so please order now.
MyPillow.com.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.